Alright, hello there, my name is Sammy, and welcome back to my Stream Theory playthrough of Half-Life 2 Episode 2, where I'll be playing the game live while also providing analysis and commentary as I go. Well, it's been a while since I last streamed due to the holiday season. Christmas did happen a few days back, so naturally I could not stream during the busy season. And, in theory, I should be on break, and they'll technically give me more time for stuff like streaming, but no. That time is just replaced by other stuff like the festivities, family stuff, all that jazz. But I'm glad to be back now. Continue right where I left off in the last stream, and I know we are approaching a very pivotal scene, a very important story moment here. We're still working with this Vortigaunt here to try to get the what's called the extract, the antlion extract, which is like this substance from larval antlions that has healing properties, and we are trying to help our friend Alyx, who was mortally wounded.
When you reach the lower chamber, you must find
Okay, can't go down that way. Gotta go this way. She was mortally wounded, and she's right now being sustained by a group of other Vortigaunts. Meanwhile, we have to just try and get to the extract. Going through these antlion nests, essentially. Kind of like massive tunnels of ants, normal ants in the ground, but much larger size. Apparently, the antlion nest is also connected to a series of mines as well, which seems to be man-made structures that we're going through right now. But no matter, here's some larvae now. We're gonna get to approaching that pivotal scene mentioned and can discuss that. It's actually kind of important in a way, contradictory to some of the stuff I've said about Half-Life 2 in general, but maybe not as contradictory. Anyway, we'll get to that when we see it. It's one of my most favorite story moments, or pure story moments, that appears in any Half-Life game. Well, but that's coming up. Until then, let's keep on working through these mines. Let's see. I could be sucked up by this barnacle here, but that's okay. And right now we are in a period of the game where we're once again alone. I think there's a nice balance between having that AI partner, which has become, at least in the Half-Life episodes, an essential part of the experience, having an AI partner working with them in sort of a single-player cooperative experience. You're cooperating with a friendly AI. Alright. It's not up there. It's actually an achievement where you can, if you're able to get every single one of these larvae, you get an achievement. I don't think I've ever gotten that. Anyway, the experience is not balancing between that cooperative experience with the AI and more solo areas. You're forced to leave your AI companion and work alone. I think that works very well because you don't want too much of a certain style of play where you're always cooperating with an AI. An area of the game where we can hear that coming. Afraid, I must hide, if we're always cooperating with the AI, we're gonna get used to that style of play, even though it can be really interesting in its own right. It's nice to have a little change of pace sometimes where we're playing on our own. And I think for the purposes of like the boss battle here, that's why This is sort of a pseudo boss battle in which, yeah, we're fighting against this antlion queen. I forget what they were called. And I think designing this experience around a more cooperative way, especially since we're moving really fast, would be quite a challenge for Valve. So I think that's why they ultimately decided to make this a more solo experience where we leave the Vortigaunt behind. And I'm sure they could find a way to program the AI to where it can keep up with you and be as fast, but it would not always work. Pretty easy to break. Like, it's hard to construct that perfectly. Much easier if you're not being, like, say, dragged down by your AI partner. You're able to work by yourself. You go about this challenge at your own pace, and I think that's why this sequence works. You can see that in actually many parts of Half-Life, where sometimes you'll encounter that AI companion, like even Half-Life 2. There were parts of Nova Prospect, the prison level, where you meet up with Alyx, and sometimes you work with her. But then there was also another, like an antlion. I can't remember what they're called. Antlion Queen, I suppose. Area in that where like the antlion, giant antlion was attacking Nova Prospect. You have to fight against it. And that was also a moment where you separated with Alyx, so it's keeping in with that theme. If you're fighting against the antlion, it's better to go up against it alone. Like, we're better equipped for that. We have all the weapons, so this one can't exactly attack the antlion head-on in this environment. What we need to do is just make our way from hiding spot to hiding spot until we're able to actually deal with it somehow. And you can hear it. I don't know if you can hear it in the background there, but you can hear it's charging. It hears you and then charges after you. But if you can make it to the hiding spot, then you're alright. So this is not necessarily a boss battle per se. Just like the boss battles against the antlion queens had those in Half-Life 2. This is a slight little twist on that, where we're going about it a roundabout way, going from hiding spot to hiding spot, and then having a slightly different experience, or a slightly different take on that. So it's not simply a retread of what Half-Life 2 already offered with that with that antlion battle. Alright, let's see what we got here. Here it comes. See which direction it decides to go. And then I'll go around the other way. I can hear it behind me. I need to see if I can get to the hiding spot in time. Apparently I can't. That's fine, I'll get to a different one. Anyway, that kind of speeds me up a little bit, that misstep there, where I couldn't make it to the first hiding spot. I would have had to just come here anyway. So back to the next one. Interesting how the antlion charges at you. It actually propels you forward. Yeah, you take damage, but you make progress. Of course, each one of these hiding spots has its own, like, health cache. Remnants. There's like a little story going on here where these are human remains, and I suppose the story is that like they were carrying health kits. So this is where they deposit a lot of their food, feeding their larvae and whatnot, and they were carrying health kits, which we can use when we get to using this area as a little hiding spot. Interesting how that all works out. How level design here tells a little story. I like that a little bit. Anyway, back to the boss battle, or pseudo boss battle, more like a puzzle boss. I'm trying to figure out how to deal with this. Okay, which way do I go? I suppose that was wrong. Yep, that was definitely wrong. But I made it to the right place anyway. Alright. Alright, we got to where we needed to go. Took a bit of damage there, but was able to recover slightly. I think most of the damage isn't necessarily health damage, but that like toxic damage that we saw before, where it drains your health, and then if you're hit once again, if you're hit another time, then you get killed instantly. But your suit that I have, I suppose, delivers that antitoxin, and I recover health that way. So it's not a total loss if I get utterly hit by that antlion. Alright, so we got through the scary bits there. We're making it way through. Making our way through that antlion den. Now we're down here. Away from the danger. Get these out of the way. I don't want to be surprised by any of these barnacles.
I sense the
Aha.
freemen down below. Activate the elevator that we may reconvene.
And now we're directly beneath where we started. The Vortigaunts up there, and we have to figure out how to get this elevator working. It's not working right now. Looks like. You see, there's a missing gear here. Just observe plainly what we need to solve this puzzle. You just need that gear. And if I've learned anything about video games in the past, and about how Half-Life, Half-Life has you solve its puzzles. If you play the game up until now, you've gotten accustomed to the way that your approach to its own puzzles. You know that the solution is nearby. You just have to. It mostly encourages exploration. You're trying to get to explore the surrounding environment, as well as doing the puzzle solving. You know the solution is going to be nearby. You just have to figure out where it is. Okay. So here is a gear, and should be able to get that working. Let's place some gear here. New pea hat. No, pea hat. That's a Zelda thing. A barnacle. I guess they're sort of reminiscent of pea hats. Well, not really, but sort of these organic, annoying enemies. Okay, so now that's working. Any more surprises around here? I don't think so. Maybe shoot this thing. Like, see a little energy thing. I could use some energy. All right, let's solve that puzzle. It's not very complicated. I think it's just most of these puzzles are a means of just getting you to interact with your environment around you, explore a little bit, and so you're not going through the area at like a breakneck pace. It's meant to purposely. This area is meant to purposely like slow you down. Some people might like a more fast-paced game, and I think I appreciate whenever this happens. Whenever we get to a moment to slow down and appreciate our surroundings, appreciate the hard work that Half-Life 2 games have. So yeah, it's not just I'm not just like looking at the environments and doing straight analysis, but I'm also got to say whether I actually like it, whether it actually works, right? You can't just straight up say, hey, this is what it's doing, with the gear. But whether this gear puzzle actually achieves something makes the experience better. I think
you have done the hardest work, admitting entrance to this chamber. Truly, the life of Alyx Vance is in able hands.
I think even a simplistic puzzle like this, there are merits to it. Now, if all the puzzles in the game were this simplistic, that would be more of a problem. But this is just one example where puzzles doesn't need necessarily to be super difficult. I think we're still fairly in the beginning of the game, and puzzles will get more challenging as we go forward. In a way, this is still ramping up in difficulty. Still a ramp up from tutorializing area. In a way, this is still part of the tutorial. in terms of presenting you with puzzles, getting used to more challenging puzzles, so that you can learn how to take on other challenges later.
Ah, excellent. A bounty of larval extract. This should only take a moment.
So after that long, semi-long bit of traveling through that hazardous antlion den, and then it's puzzle solving,
Let us return.
rewarded with a really cool story bit here, and I think this is a really nice way to reward us for what we had to go through so far. Challenges we had to go through. I mean, not that the challenges were really like terrible. Like I said, they are enjoyable in their own right, but they have to be leading up to something, right? And most of the reason, or much of the reason why they're worthwhile, why those challenges, the puzzles, all the levels we're interacting with is worthwhile, is because they build up to important story moments. They're given meaning because of that. That's why I think they work, and they end up making the experience more enjoyable. So here it is, a pretty big scene coming up, and one of the biggest and possibly best story-specific moments. Even though there's no real interaction going on in this scene coming up, it is nevertheless powerful. We can discuss that a little bit. I think for now we'll just let it play.
Behold, the
Fruits of our efforts, and got the extract to help Alyx here.
Join now as we imbibe the extract. Yes. A human is needed. Agreed. Join us, Freeman.
Okay.
We weave the Freeman's life with hers. Yes, there is a quickening. Hopes for this bond between you.
I almost forgot about these really interesting graphical effects going on with Alyx here.
Dr. Freeman.
Ah.
I realize this moment may not be the most convenient for a heart-to-heart, but I had to wait until your friends were otherwise occupied. There was a time they cared nothing for Miss Vance, when their only experience of humanity was a crowbar coming at them down a steel corridor. When I plucked her from Black Mesa, I acted in the face of objections that she was a mere child and of no practical use to anyone. I have learned to ignore such naysayers when quelling them was out of the question. Still, I am not one to squander my investments, and I remain confident she was worth far more than the initial appraisal. That's why I must now extract from you some small repayment owed for your own survival. See her safely to White Forest, Dr. Freeman. I wish I could do more than keep an eye on you, but I have agreed to abide by certain restrictions. Well, now listen carefully, my dear. When you see your father, relay these words. Prepare for unforeseen consequences.
She stirs. Her volatile form has regained integrity. We have averted an immeasurable loss.
Oh, God.
Lie still.
Oh my God. I thought for sure I was dead.
The Combine Hunter's caused traumatic injury.
A hunter. So that's what it was.
We knit shattered bone and restored circulatory integrity. Yet it was a free man who retrieved your vortessence.
Yeah, that's Gordon. How long have I been out?
A matter of hours.
Hours? We've got to get moving.
A moment longer.
But we have to get to White Forest. It's vital.
No fear. We will put you on the right road. Now, try carefully to rise.
Whoa. I don't know what you did, but I have a feeling I'm lucky to be here.
Come then. I will get you on the path to White Forest.
Come on, Gordon. Next to me.
We will continue our hunt for advisors. Farewell. Go safe.
One of the... Definitely an important story moment there. Oh yeah, these guys are still here. Forgot about them.
Be adequate. What the hell does that mean, anyway?
I don't know. Sounds like something the Vorts would say.
Definitely a very story-specific moment there. Not, there's definitely no interaction going on there.
I think I can walk on my own now. Let me give it a shot.
And that was essentially the first example of a proper,
Yeah.
of a very strict
Stiff,
cutscene in the middle of in the middle of a Half-Life experience that we've seen pretty much, as far as I know, since the entire series. It's the only example of a cutscene in the middle of the experience. Now, Half-Life has used cutscenes as more of a bookend, beginning and end of the experiences before, for sure. But I don't think if it's ever,
Something to piss it off.
I don't think it has ever brought in a cutscene in the middle of the experience like it has here.
If it tries to hinder our progress, we will have no choice but to kill it.
You messed with its eggs?
On the one hand, I can see why it would bring that, because why it would break its own storytelling methods to introduce a cutscene here to introduce a cutscene because of how important that one story scene is. It basically needs a cutscene in order to have that impact, in order to be able to tell that information to us. I don't think there's any other way to go about it. So you could say that it is betraying its own style of storytelling from a Half-Life perspective. Half-Life has established the importance of storytelling through interactive means and never taken away that interaction.
Advisor's still an incubation pod.
But for this scene, I think it works because of how it goes about it.
So that's what we saw in the city.
We see one of those pods for the advisors there.
North with great purpose.
North? White Forest. We have to get there ahead of them.
I know of humans with a vehicle.
So a lot of important story details going on here, and I'm trying to talk over them at the same time.
What are we waiting for?
Right, so the difference between that specific scene, with the G-Man, and I think I'll discuss the story-related implications a little later on, or after I discuss the nature of the cutscene itself. The difference between that cutscene and, say, other traditional cutscenes that many other video games would use just as a means of basic storytelling is that one is highly motivated. The game, of course, for any of its storytelling, the game goes out of its way, or the Half-Life series has always gone out of its way to make sure to motivate every every way it decides to tell its story. So if it has to rely on the cutscene, there has to be a really good reason for why it's using a cutscene right then and there to tell its story. And the reason is that, look at the circumstances of the event itself. The Vortigaunts are busy trying to heal Alyx, and then G-Man is using that opportunity to intervene. And let's see.
Near the repellent device.
Yeah, this is how. Gonna go from thumper to thumper. G-Man is using that opportunity to give us a message, or me specifically, Gordon Freeman, a message. I think that in itself is the motivation why it can introduce it in the means of cutscene. It's G-Man is we're essentially seeing what G-Man is directly inputting into our minds, the message he's trying to give. Alright, let's try to make it to that next thumper. So as long as there's sufficient motivation for that cutscene, I think that's why it can work. Now, another point you can make about that is that the Half-Life as a series doesn't exploit it. It could try and motivate this every single time in order to tell a lot of cutscenes, use a lot of cutscenes to tell its story. But I think it wants to be as restrained as possible. You know, not rely too much on that means of storytelling. Like, it was only for that pivotal moment where it resulted to that cutscene, and it had to go out of its way to justify that use of a cutscene. I think that's why why it works. It's only a one-time thing, and all right, let's make it to the next one. Don't need to sit here and talk the whole time. There we go. I think these things are going to spawn infinitely, so I don't necessarily have to take them out. Just have to make sure we don't die, that's all. Get some of these resources as well. Alright, so as far as the meaning of that cutscene itself, remember in the beginning of episode 1. The beginning of episode 1 is where we saw that cutscene, or that introductory cutscene, where the Vortigaunts were saving us from the end of Half-Life 2 episode, or Half-Life 2. End of Half-Life 2, we were at the top of the Citadel, which was exploding, and then the Vortigaunts saved us. And in the process, they also blocked our connection, whatever connection we had with that G-Man, who is this mysterious figure who has been essentially tracking our progress throughout the Half-Life story, since Half-Life 1. He's been, we've kind of been unknowingly working... here we go. Working into his plan, essentially. Alright, so now we have to fight this thing. Oh, another one. I'm trying to get this thing, but it's not letting me. Come on! There we go. Okay. Let's get the heck out of here. It's gonna be a bit tough to discuss that scene while trying to deal with these things. Aha, here's some more.
If we are to press forward, the Guardian must not.
They're called Guardians. Right, okay. Whoa, okay, got one. Gotta be more of these. Alright, that's why there were so many of these. We gotta use them to. And that's the second one. Should be all set now.
Nice work, Gordon. Sorry I couldn't be more help.
Alright, so
Still a little weak.
beginning of Half-Life 2 Episode 1, we saw our connection to the G-Man was disrupted by the Vortigaunts. And in that moment that we just saw, the G-Man reestablished that connection. And his influence on the proceedings in our actions and the events going on all around us is essentially back on. So we've been disconnected since Half-Life 2 Episode 1, and we haven't seen any of those G-Man cameos that we would have seen in throughout any particular Half-Life experience. Like Half-Life 1 and Half-Life 2, there are moments throughout those experiences where we get appearances of the G-Man, seeing he's observing us and showing that he is very much influencing the events of what we're experiencing. So it's kind of a change of pace and something we haven't really been able to comment on because we have not been seeing the G-Man since the beginning of Half-Life 2 Episode 1 for those reasons, for the reasons that the Vortigaunts have been blocking him from us. But now that's back on. We're going to be... He is back in some form of control. We're not really sure what he's doing or whose side he's on, how he's controlling things, how he's influencing things. We do know he has some sort of influence. And yeah, that is back. He is very much back. So we should be seeing more of that. What we used to see in Half-Life 2 games, where well,